Good morning, guys. Sorry I'm running late. Give me 1 second and we'll be ready to go. Pop that on, put some music on. You know what time it is. I'll be back. I'll get some coffee. Coffee in a minute here, but let's get started. Let's go wait for the little buzzer thing to go off. Why is the camera not working? There it is. Yay! Bonding. Give me 1 second. We'll be good to go here, guys. I'm sorry. There's a crap ton going on, and I want to go through this with you guys so that you guys set for today. There's a lot going on, like a lot. So let's drop this to 15 for a minute so you can see it all. Look at it. So you're really struggling here, man, like really struggling. And these levels are starting to get out further where I have to go to like 15-minute charts. If I drop this to an hourly, you'll see it. There goes my coffee. Give me 1 second. Let me go get my coffee. All right, this too. Give me 1 minute here. Please check Google. It's supposed to be Google, not Domino's Pizza. Thank you. You should have everything you need. If you need anything, let me know. What a day. Jesus. God, never gets boring, does it? All right. Sorry, guys. Let's do it. I swear I'm shooting for 8:15. I swear to God I am. All right. This is the biggest thing that I want to go over. These levels, they're not clearing. So this is the first drop of October, and you're not clearing it, man. So I'll show you how I drew all this, because I think that this is the most important thing that you can get from this today with the time that we have. If I drop this in here, right, and we can see that level. See how you're rejecting that level there? I think that's super, super important. What do you got for me, John? On the wrong speaker or something? The wrong mic again? I don't know why it keeps jumping mics. Let me fix that, guys. You acting like it's the first time here. First time caller? Hello. That should be better. That should be better, John. Let me know. If you see how you're acting in this space, right, you can see that pretty clearly, right? All right, cool. I think that's a real problem. And I don't like to use, it's good now. Thank you, Jen. I don't like to use VWAP a lot. I think it's what can be grossly overused. But there are times where, like, you see these new lows and these lows, and there are times where you have to watch this stuff and just see, like, hey, you have a freaking problem here. And whatever it is, you have to think about this stuff. Like, when you're under these VWAPs, think about them as like beach balls pushing you out of the water up, and then, like, picture being in the water and someone putting a weight on your chest. And the more of these that you have like this, the more weight that you're going to deal with. So we kind of have that suck salad going for us, which is not great, right? You have all those levels up there, and it's not fantastic at all. You're really struggling with it. So that's the very first thing that you have to understand. The other thing that's really bothering me is that the longer that you stay under, the more weight it is. So, like, if you were underwater, right? I think it's this one, isn't it? Is it that one, or is it this one? If you're underwater and you're in a position where you have weights on you, after a while, like, those weights, they really start weighing on you, right? It gets harder and harder to get through the water. Think of that as that area. And then on top of that, you really have to focus on, like, the point of controls all the way up here versus here. So the point of control is actually moving higher. And that means that they're getting weaker hands in here, and you're breaking through, like, that value area. Like, none of this is sexy. None of it is. So just kind of keep that in mind. Like, it's a real problem. And if I could just take one thing, like, if you could just take one thing from this today, that's your problem. And the idea that you're not going to come back and retest some of these levels, I just don't see how you don't. And that's really where my head is with it all. And I think that's the biggest thing that I could get out to you for that. I have, like, one sector that looks decent, like one. That's it. That's all I have. And that's really how I say it. And, when I come here and I look at the NQ, it's very similar. Like, it's not where, it's not like it's going to be something different. I keep forgetting where these things are. There it is. It's one of those things where, like, it's very similar where, okay, well, that peak from November 7th, all right, well, I rejected. Yeah, you rejected hard. And you go back here again. And it's my belief, frankly, that you have to undercut this. And I've been saying that for some time, but that whole area, yet again, is becoming a problem, and you can see it. So you're not really getting up there, but you'll see them actually walking you down, right? You'll see it. So, and I don't like using a ton of VWAPs. I think it's one of the most overused tools out there. But there are times to look at this stuff and understand, like, where are the players? And this is, to me, this is one of those times. I think it can be grossly overused, but there are times where it is like, it's the cat's pajamas. And this is one of it. The kids still say that, right? Now, you're still in your value area, you're still in that range, but at the end of the day, you just really want to watch how this is going, because I don't know that you're getting through any of this right away until you get some kind of flash and you flush everything out. And I don't know that you have that yet. I really don't. And you don't have a driver. Like, we just don't have anything that's driving us. So that's where my head is. I did not take a lot of questions last time. So I definitely want to take more questions and get through it all. So we're going to be fast and do it. So, and I apologize for that last time, but I'm under the gun, dude. Like, I opened up the community again, and demand was just overwhelming. So I have all those that I'm doing. I do all those onboarding calls. So I'm just under the gun. Yesterday was insane. So the past week's been insane. I have one more email that's going to go out for guys that are trying to get in. It'll go out today. And like, if in case you missed the other ones and you are on the list, and that'll be open for like 8 hours. And then it's just, I'm shutting it down probably it'll be shut down for 26 because I have to get through everybody, get everybody up to speed. I don't know why that's doing what it's doing, brother. I don't know why you did that. Was it earnings that encapsulated you that way? Like, I don't know. You know, I don't know. I'm not feeling that. I'll tell you why I'm not feeling it. I didn't do it on huge volume. That's why I'm not feeling it. What else you got? I'm going to try to hit everybody today before we go. Now we're talking. So I'd want to know what you're doing and why you're doing it, but that's what you're looking for. So everyone thought it was garbage. It's not garbage because people didn't understand it, right? They didn't come out with earnings. They must have said something about some kind of drug they had, or they did a secondary along with it. Let's see what we can find out. We'll look into it together. I love when we do stuff together. CNTA. Overweight, Contessa, Wells Fargo, $35 target price. That was Thursday. Sorry for the slurping. Contessa Pharma trading higher. Company pricing $250, offering $21.50 a share, and that was on Wednesday the 12th. So you did your Wednesday the 12th here, and once that priced, that was it. So what's that telling you, Dylan? Where are you, buddy? There you are. All right. So what's that telling you, buddy? So what that's telling you is that had massive demand. Like, they had massive demand for that secondary. So you'd want to make sure that you don't break that level, but that's them making their phone call saying, hey, I know you wanted 10,000 shares. I got you 2. And then the guy going, Christ. And then he's all annoyed. And he goes in the open market and he has to buy it. That's what that is right there. The other thing that's really interesting about that one, Dylan, and why it's appealing is it could have given a rat's butt about what was going on in the market. So that's really one of the kinds of names you're looking for. Okay. I like this. I'd like to know more about it, actually. Yeah, bro. I like that a lot. I'd like to know what the story is. I'll throw it in the community. They'll tear it apart. Tell me like 2 seconds. Someone will know it cold. Anything like that that's defying what the market's doing right now, that this could be an absolute complete mispricing, that's what you want to pay attention to. What else you got for us? BKV. What's that one, brother? I don't know what they do. I don't have a clue. The earnings were good. The earnings got you through. You have a liquidity grab down there. It's interesting, but it's not as interesting as the other one to me. But you are moving again here. So there is something to that. I like that. I'm going to look into that, but the other one's got my attention because you had real demand. Like, you have real demand here too, clearly. But that other one was way more interesting. TPL's very interesting to me. Monster, I don't play with. I'll go through it because I know you want to. I don't really play with this. I don't like the way it trades. I don't do well with things that get all wicky and look like they're going to break out and then don't. I seem to get very annoyed with them. Very clearly, it doesn't matter how I think, the stock's doing exceptionally well, right? So that's where my head is. I don't see the reason for, like, that's not my kind of trade, but it doesn't mean that it's not going to work, John. I just know that kind of trade doesn't work for me. Like, when I look at a bar like this and all of them are red, long, and they're all down, and then it rallies back up, and
They just don't work for me. If I was to trade this, I'd want the earnings wick to break before I'd even think about buying it. What else you got, brother? What else are you looking at there? We got 47 Fed speakers this week. Agreed. TPL. Yeah, I like this a lot. I've done exceptionally well with this stock over the years. So, this is, again, that's how I'm kind of looking at it. I'm really surprised that this is not moving higher. It's like everybody kind of got the play. We've done this a couple times. I've done this 3 major trades in this thing, like killed it. Like, here's the thing about this to me. You have to look at this and allow this to play out, right? And so you have to size accordingly with it. Here's why this is so interesting. They own a ton of land and natural gas in Texas. The idea that they're going to lend that land out and they're going to build data centers on it, to me, makes so much sense. LB was the same thing. So I'm really surprised that this is not like catching on. Now, you kept breaking the 55. Everything's starting to point up. You have to buy this thing and hold it, and then you kind of figure out where your stop's going to be. It's not the easiest trade in the world, by far. So I tend to want to watch this stuff, and I really don't like being below a 200-day moving average, at all. And the majority of time where I've done these trades, I have not been below that. So I'm not really crazy about doing a trade where I'm below like the 200-day. So it is what it is. I have to make a decision. But yeah, I mean, that's probably going to be resistance there. But I don't know. It's definitely interesting. LB just did a secondary this morning too. So, they obviously need money. They obviously came out. Everything was, fantastic, and they ran up, and now you're coming back down. And there's definitely something to it, breaking that 65 and then from there pushing. So yeah, it's interesting to say the least. All right, let's keep going here. Good morning from Japan. Good morning from Miami. AER Leasing. Williams and Sonoma is this week, or WM is not Williams and Sonoma. I don't know what's going on there, dude. Looks fantastic, though. I mean, there's not really much to say, bro. It's like the thing's just been a rock star. You know what I mean? It's just a question of, does it continue to be a rock star or not? I don't know. After earnings, yeah, I mean, earnings were fantastic. So, I mean, if I nailed it and bought the earnings, yeah, I get it. But other than that, it's not something I'd play with. I don't like buying those kinds of names, like these kind of slow grinding kind of stuff. It just doesn't work for my style of trading. I wouldn't go near this. It does look like it's washed out, but until I get through that 55, I have a hard time buying these kinds of names. It fits the narrative right now, though, for sure. It definitely fits the narrative, Jacob. Jacob, you should look at India. What's up, Troy? I think you got to be really careful here. The last 6, you rallied and fell apart. So I think you're wedged in here. I don't think there's a tremendous amount to do until we figure out what's going to happen there. I just don't. I just don't think that there's a lot for us to do there until we figure it out. That's just where my head is with it. I don't know. I mean, if you go through, just go look at the last 6. Like, do I really have an earnings play here? You haven't really rallied on earnings since May, 24. That was the last one. So, oh God. So do you have to be involved with it? Don't get me wrong. I own it. Like, it is what it is. It's going to do whatever it does. But do I really need to get involved with it? Not really. No. What's up, Tariq? I don't know, Stan. Like, you can try. Like, I know a bunch of people that are doing calls on it, call spreads, selling puts. I started, and then I'm just looking at it going, man, maybe if it gets back down to 80, I'll look at it again. But other than that, if it's not optimal in this market, we just feel heavy. I think the Eagles had a good game. I think they could have played better. And everyone's annoyed by that call, but it is what it is. I mean, refs are awful. Refs have been awful for years. TDW. You know, that's not even a full-time job. I mean, which is insane when you think about it. Yeah, you're trying for sure. I just don't like that when you don't have the follow through. So this kind of stuff always leads to the same thing for me. It's like, let me know when they finally get to the point where everything's bought, you know, and we're back to the highs and we're breaking out. You know, a lot of these earnings plays all faded. So it's actually the worst one in like a decade where earnings are crushing and the stocks are selling down. Lily's a monster. I had it on, but I went to cash and everything. So I got out of that too. You know, you're going to gap down about what, $15? You know, you don't want to be around for this. Like you want to be getting out when you can in this market. That's really troubling too, because you hit the new high. So you want to make sure that, you know, watch the day where you don't hit the new high since you broke out. Like every day it's been a new high, right? And I think it was even you hit 33, 1033.62, 1032. Yep. So you still did it then. So you want to watch, but you know, if you're not going to hit a new high, you really want to watch how that's going to go. You know, you might not want to be getting involved there until that keeps hitting new highs. Dell, I'm not surprised by that. It seems to me that people are trying to get ahead of this. I haven't read that yet. I haven't seen that yet, but that's not overly surprising to me. It seems like people are trying to get ahead of the CapEx spell, you know, Dell being downgraded to, you know, an underweight. You know, I'd be real curious to see as to why. I wonder if I have access to that. I might already have access to it. Let me see if I do. If I do, we'll go through it real quick. But let me just say, Morgan Stanley. No, I don't see it out yet. Let me just go to one more place and then I'll tell you. No, I don't see it yet, but I'll get the report. I'll read it. I'm not overly surprised by that. That's a big downgrade on the price target, though, isn't it? I mean, they're not really playing around. You know, coming down and saying 110. So it's definitely coming in. Yeah, I'd really want to see what happens at 120 and see if you're going to hold the 200-day moving average. You know, you'd want to watch the rally up. I probably wouldn't want to short into that. I'd probably want to watch that. But that's a big deal. That actually is going to hurt SMCI too. So you're probably going to want to watch that. You know, I would want to watch that. It's a big deal, actually. It's a lot too to drop. So let's see what you're doing pre-market. You might bounce there. It could bounce there, guys. So I mean, to short it, you know, I don't know, man. Like, you got to watch this stuff. They want out of this stuff. They don't want in it, dude. So when they want out of this is when I don't play with the smaller names, because when they want out, they want out. You know, I would be using Google as a bellwether, to be candid with you. If you're watching Google completely implode all morning long where everybody's selling Google, it is really clear to me that people are very concerned about being in this market. And I said this on Friday, you know, where the movement was really just put selling. And now they're going to come in again and whack the market again. So, you know, I've just been shorting, and I'm not really sweating my short positions like at all. I don't feel that way yet, dude. The Netflix, I don't know. No one really seems to care. You know what I mean? They did their split and nobody really cares. So it's like, okay. I don't really care either. Like, I don't really know. I think they did it because they want stability in the shares, but, it is what it is. I don't know. You know, I thought they might be doing it because they were going to buy like WBD and they want to split the shares out, but I'm not really sure what they're, please stop. So I don't know, man. I don't know that I'd be rushing into that. The NBIS, people got really upset with this thing because they sold out and then their revenue projections weren't as high as people thought they were going to be. I get that. Like for 26, people thought the revenue projections were going to be higher. I can understand how that would be, frustrating for people, but it's a really good thing when you have product and your company has product and you sell out of your product. Like it's a really, really good thing. So I don't know. That's how I feel about it anyway. And they took 27 up. So on the revenue and the earnings, I really like it. It's really tough to buy that here. It's got to hold, it's got to build. And, until this market sees signs of it, lower highs and lower lows where they're smoking me, man, you got to be super careful with that kind of stuff. So, I think you do. I think you got to be super careful with that stuff. So, and to me, I really think the market's very heavy. So I don't know, man. I don't know that you need to be rushing into that kind of stuff. I just don't feel that way. I think you're better off almost with some of the story stuff that's just completely underpriced in a certain way now. Oh, you're welcome, buddy. Doing it anyway all day. Yeah, I mean, there's not really anything to do there. Like, if you're short them, you're short them. Like, why would you even bother? Just make sure you got to really break 600 here. If you break that, that thing's going down. Yeah, I think that's probably the thing is. I don't know that that's the worst thing in the world, bro. I don't have a lot on here on the short-term side. And, I'm just letting it all figure out what it wants to be when it grows up. I've been around too long to know the first drawdown's the best. So yeah, I don't know. It seems to me that people think that this is going to be immune. I don't, and I don't understand why. Like, I look at this and, like here's going to be like a level of support, right? So, you have a level of support there. You better hold it. You better hold it. And if you break 170, you have a problem. Like you have a real issue there. I think people need to understand that names like this have, they're really very expensive. And so institutions are going to look at that and go, is it worth it? I have a hard time justifying it. And I don't really look at PE, but yeah, I have a tough time with that one. So I would think most people do. Just pop in at 8:30, man. That's fine. So, free will and all that. The banking sector scared me the other day. So when you do stuff like that, where you pop over and then you pull back, pops over and then pulls back, and you see that kind of nonsense, like, oh man, you better get in Goldman, you better get in now. It's like, and they did them so dirty. So look at the high there, 840, and then you can see 841. So everyone's like, oh, I made the higher high, I better get in, and then wham. And then if you really look at it, like it's just so dirty because they took them from that 841, which is right here, all the way down to, well, I'll just do it from here, all the way to here. So like they smoked them like 60 points, in a day. And then it's like, oh, I'll just hold it. And then they just got crushed. So and now you're sitting down here with it and you're in all this. Oh, they did similar, not as bad with JP Morgan, but they didn't take it over. So, but you need to watch that. You need to watch the RSI. You don't want that, man. You don't want that coming at you. It's not sexy, dude. That's a problem. That's a real problem. So, good morning from Russ, Texas. Good morning from Miami. MU. You're wedged in here. The one thing that I like about MU and SanDisk is that they're wrong on the pricing of where these things should be and demand for product. Like they're way, way, way off. And I think that gives them an edge for trading. I don't know that people are going to care and think that way. And they're just going to want to lock in their winners. And that's what's got me even scared, just being blind about buying like XBI names. So I don't know. I watch those call walls, dude, like a hawk. I really would. Like you got to stay above 250, dude. If you can't, you have a problem. I think anything in energy, right? I think energy and the energy space, like all those, look at them all. I'm sorry, XLA, like look, like XLE, XOP, OIH, like anything like that. What's Arch look like? AMR, BTU. So, anything in the energy space like that seems to be okay. I don't understand the whole like Oxy going to 39, but probably should have looked at it there, What's up, Lori? Yeah, I think the news on Thiel blowing out got everybody. I also think 6 quarters of not going up on earnings kind of scares people too. Like, that becomes an issue. No video. You got charts now, right? You can see the charts. What are you guys talking about? The mix bad. The mix better. What's up, Steven? I think we got some time. I don't want to tell you that I'm short OKLO. I think you got some time here, bro. I really do. You have the lower highs, lower lows. You have some structural breaking here. And I think you're going to pick out the winners and the losers now. For me, the bellwethers that I would be watching are, does LEU catch a bid? And if LEU can catch a bid, then I think you have something. If it can't, then you have an issue. So the LEU for sure, the BWXT, like they would be my bellwethers. And I don't see it yet. So I'm short at OKLO and I'll just short more as it rallies. I didn't cover any on Friday when it rallied like that. And I'm short the OKLL. So I'm just leaving it alone. Like I'm not doing anything with it. I don't know, man. I think you got to like go through a cycle here and let everybody wash out and they'll start picking out the real names. That's where I think it happens. So can it? I don't know. The real issue here seems to be everyone kind of playing stupid. Specifically, when I say everyone playing stupid, I mean like everyone pretending that they didn't know that these facilities weren't being built. Oh, we didn't know that we didn't have facilities that weren't being built. Like, how do you not know that you don't have facilities that aren't being built? Like, how do you not know that? So, yeah, I think it's a real issue. I do. I think it's a real issue. So you saw it with CoreWeave, right? Like, oh, it's not our fault. There's just, there's no physical locations. Like, how do you not know that that's a problem? Like, you didn't know that? So, of course you did. NBIS, too, I think there's a little bit of like, what do you mean you're out of location? Like, how did you not know this was coming or you're out of capacity? Like, why didn't you do bonds or a secondary a month earlier? Like, it just, you look at the timing of this stuff. Like you're out of capacity. You didn't know you were going to run out of capacity here like 30 days ago to start building out the capacity. Like it just seems like from a management standpoint, honestly, it's like, what are you guys doing? Like, how do you know you're out of capacity and you don't have any more? Like, did someone just come in one day and write a check, or was it slow? That's the stuff that bothers me with these kinds of companies. So, what do I think? In the last 6 quarters, it has not ignited a rally. It's ignited selling. They would have to increase gross margins drastically. And if you're out of physical space, like these companies are actually buying NVIDIA chips and they're storing them. If you're out of physical space, are you still doing that? Or do you say, hey, we're out of physical space? I actually think they're still buying the chips because of the depreciation. Like they get to depreciate 100% of this stuff and they're writing it off. So that's what I think they're doing. But do they slow down? I don't know. I don't think they slow down. Do they get more cautious? Maybe. Maybe that's why the put wall is dropping. Maybe that's why people are getting out of it. I don't think it's, I don't know. A lot of the firms are talking about how it's going to be great. It's going to be a blowout. It's a blowout every quarter, and we're not still rallying. So I think you have to take that into account when you look at this stuff, man. I'm not so sure that, I don't know what that does. Hold on 1 second. There's something I had to do. Clean that camera up. Does that clean the camera up at all? A little bit? Bueller? All right. So I don't know, man. I really feel that way. I really feel like it's going to be the same thing. Like if you look at the skew, I'm just going through this with somebody yesterday, like looking at the vol skew on it. I'll pull it up. I don't think it's going to change now, but like it's so flat. Like no one is really thinking that this thing's something that I really have to pay attention to going into earnings. It's like, all right, well, I'm not really jumping on the ball going into earnings. Whereas like if you look at some of these other names, they're some of these skews are just absolutely flat, and others are, they're not so flat. So like for example, I have a higher rise on like Walmart than I do on NVIDIA. Like it's kind of crazy, but I don't think they're expecting much on the movement side. So no, I don't think it's going to do that. I actually think it could have the opposite effect to some extent. I don't know that you want to go near any kind of bond until you have something. I got to get going here. I don't think you want to go near any kind of bond until you understand what's going on with tariffs. And the Fed seems to be like, oh, we're going to keep cutting rates with no data. And I actually think the data got worse, personally, by looking at certain things. And there's a guy called Torsten that puts out a lot of free stuff from Apollo. And, I'd watch his stuff. You can just Google him. But I mean, I'm not buying bonds. Like I wouldn't be buying bonds here. I'd be wanting to see, how this all plays out. And I don't know how it's all going to play out. Like, I don't have an answer to how this ends, dude. Like, I'm just being blunt. Hold on 1 second. I got all this crap popping up now because I opened something up. TNX. So, I mean, what do you see with the bond market? They're selling yield. I don't know. I don't know that I'd be doing that. I keep waiting for that to hold. I keep waiting for it to really like fall apart. You and me both. CYPH. Yeah. Isn't that like one of those new holding things? CYPH that you guys are all crazy about. Is that it? CYPH. Use your words. Yeah. I mean, I wish you guys the best with this stuff. I'm sure it'll be fantastic. It's not really my wheelhouse right now. I have no interest in doing this and then coming in and then seeing this thing at 60 cents. Maybe it'll go to 400. Like you're just speccing. And I get it. There's some new coin that does something with privacy. Someone was trying to explain it to me. Okay. I'd rather be the guy that owns it here and then just watches all the other hoopleheads pile into it. So, That's how I traded BMR. I was in the first day. If I'm not usually not in the first day, I don't really care about it. But I wish you the best with it. What is it? INDE. Matthews, India active. Yeah. Stuff like that, dude. Yeah, that's really what I'm looking for. Like, I think you want to look at that stuff a lot, Steven, because he's going to lose the court case. Yeah, they benefit greatly by what's going on. So I would think so. What's up, Flam? Yeah, I don't know that it has anything to do with the repos, Bogey. I don't know that. From what I read with the repos yesterday, it seems that they have it in control. But that's what Curvature seems to think. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. It could be, Bogey, you could be right about that to some extent. Like maybe that's why yield's rising, because there's less money in the market. Maybe that's why yields are rising, because of the repos, and because maybe the repos slowed down for some godforsaken reason because the country wasn't open. You know what I mean? So you could be right with that. That could be a catalyst to it. What's up, Ricardo? UHS. I mean, I don't know. Like, why? Like, it already moved. Earnings are out. It already moved. Like, I don't know. I'm not feeling it. Yeah, I mean, Burry's called last, what? He's called 8 of the last 2, pullbacks or crashes. CSU, good morning from London. Good morning from Miami. CSU, that can't be it. Is that it? What's the name of the company? CSU. Constellation Software? Am I on the right name? I mean, I don't know anything about it, to be honest with you. It seems like it's a company in Toronto, but I don't know anything about it. From a technical standpoint, it looks god awful. So, I mean, technically, I couldn't even think about going near it until it got to like 2,900. But I'm not sure that's when you talked about it. That's a great question. I actually think I really think the trade is selling vol after earnings this week. I think that's a really good question. God, back's killing me. But I really think that's the trade, dude. Selling vol. Like, if you're asking, like, what's the trade? Brian, for me, I actually think selling calls and selling puts on NVIDIA after earnings. I usually make a killing doing that. So mark off your levels, look at the vols, look at the ones you'd want to do, mark off your stuff, kind of go from there. That's really where my head is with it, bro. If I had to tell you like how I see it, that's how I would do the vol trade. I don't know that I would be doing anything more than that. What's up, Mon? I don't know that I'd be doing anything more than that. Like, what else? Walmart, but are they going to like collapse? Like, what's the what time is it? I got to go. Like Walmart, the implied vol's like 45, right? So where are you going to go? Like, you're not going to go anywhere. NVIDIA, we're up to, where 60. And then as they go higher and higher, you start getting up there. So NVIDIA could implode. They could implode. Target too, maybe. Maybe Target's, Target could collapse. Those, the implied vol goes up, but NVIDIA more than any of them. Do I have volume? I have volume controls on everything, yeah. Yeah, anything that he puts out, you want to watch. Like, he's a brilliant dude. like really, really smart. I read all his stuff. I actually subscribe to it, get all of his stuff. You really want to watch like anything he puts out, but it's like 34,000 feet, Jacob. You know, I think UBS will figure it out. Thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, if you think about Burry, like, there's no way, bro, that like he has 67% of his portfolio in those puts, and there's no way he's not closing some of that into that put wall. There's like just no way. He wouldn't be alive. You know what I mean? It's like he's not a moron. So he's probably doing them up here, doing it up here, comes back down, doing it again, trimming them. It's constantly, he's probably whacking it around a lot. I agree with that. I tend to stay away in this kind of stuff. So you want to get his stuff, dude. Like if you want, like you love that 34,000 view, view. You don't have to even agree with what he thinks, but just that view, man. Like he's on. Like he's really good, really good. All right, later, guys. Make good choices.